I've been covering a little bit of interesting Kickstarter news on this channel lately, starting with how you can play with and manipulate the Kickstarter algorithm to a certain extent, and how creators can block pesky customers from their campaigns and from backing them. Um, but from Bleeding Cool, as I was perusing the news sites today, learned this that Bryce Gold quits as head of comics at Kickstarter only after 6 months. So here we go. Okay, so that's really quick, man. Earlier this year, Bleeding Cool reported that Bryce Gold has left the head of Comicology Originals at Comicology, which basically is defunct now. For Kickstarter's new head of comics, a position that was advertised earlier this year for between 120 to 140 grand a year. But he only got half of that because 6 months later, he's off again. And there's the man right there, Mr. Bryce Gold. Bryce Gold tweeted the news. Big news, he says. I have decided to take on another role and will be leaving my current position as Kickstarter's head of comics. I am sure there might be much rejoicing on this. But here's the thing, right? People are like, okay, this guy's out, yay. But who do they replace him with? Is it the devil that you rather deal with or the devil you don't know? Today is his last day. Shout out to all of the creators who have brought the most interesting, beautiful, and radical comics to life on Kickstarter these last 6 months. I'm so grateful to have been a part of your process. Although I am leaving Kickstarter, I will not be a stranger in the world of comics and look forward to sharing more soon. So I wonder where he's moving to. If you went to Comicology and that sort of got defunct, you're going to Kickstarter and it looks like they're going through, a sweeping round of changes. What's left for Bryce Gold? Does he start up his own enterprise? Does he move over to Indiegogo? Is it some sort of Netflix comics deal he might be doing? Speculation runs rampant, right? Whatever it is, though, it's probably paying more than 140 grand per year. When Bryce Gold was announced as Kickstarter, they stated as head of comics, Bryce will manage and curate Kickstarter's comics category, connected with and champion the work of promising creators in the comics community, and bring together a growing community of comics creators and supporters of comics and illustration. Previously at Comixology Originals, where he worked for 8 years, John, years, Bryce Gold managed all editorial, creative, and developmental for Comixology Originals content line and connected comics talent and comics intellectual properties and adaptation opportunities at Amazon Studios, Amazon Games. He said, as I step into this role, I'm focused on thinking outside the box to find ways to support creator-owned projects, reshaping the dynamic between creatives and comic production, and bringing in a new ethos to comic projects in all fits and fashions. It's a lot of word salad there to say, I'm going to try and do the best job I can. But only for 6 months, it seems. And he's already on the side, publisher and editor of Prite Press, a comics and zine micropress, the founder of Zoetrope, a quarterly comics reading and animation showcase, and has taught production of comics at the School of Visual Arts in New York City. So basically a whole lot of nothing. All right. 6 months ago, Kickstarter's VP of Creator and Backer Success, Kim Alfonso, said, to date, over 15,000 comic projects have found success on Kickstarter, raising over $188 million in funds. We are earnest about helping comics creators bring their projects to life, and we see plenty of untapped potential to really expand our presence in the category. Bryce has the right mix of industry expertise and hands-on experience supporting comic creators to shape the future of comics and illustration communities on Kickstarter. I cannot wait to see where he takes us. Not that far, it seems. Not in 6 months. So, will the head of comics Kickstarter job be offered yet again? Maybe someone who might stick around? And where will Bryce Gold end up now? So if you guys got any sort of insight, I would really like to know. We'll look at a couple of the comments here. 140,000 is about 4 times what I make, says Dylan. No kidding. Rob Jensen said, why was he frustrated by the massive proportion of porn comics on Kickstarter? Was he frustrated by the massive proportion of porn comics on Kickstarter? See, and this is a common thing, right? And this could be, factored into what's happening. Because what we're seeing now in Kickstarter, from Kickstarter creators who don't do the sexy comic, they're trying to take war to the sexy verse, if you will, right? They're trying to say to Kickstarter, why are you pushing pornographic material when my comic book is the next Alan Moore, right? When my next comic book is going to be, this huge success, but based on story and not sex. And while I get that to a point, it is an open and fair market, right? Niobe isn't a TNA comic. It's not porn, right? We got some, sexy covers, nothing nude, no sex in the books at all. She doesn't even kiss anyone. You know what I mean? It's just eye candy on the cover for the most part. But other cats, they go full in. You know what I mean? And by full in, I mean they go full in, They cross lines and boundaries I would never even dream of crossing. However, that's their right. And if those things sell, then they're going to continue to do that, right? Just like if Niobe continues to sell, I will continue to do my thing. And that, again, makes for an open and free market. The problem is that it's not so open and free when you get down to it, if you're talking about the Kickstarter platform in particular, because you're always going to have a Bryce Gold, right? You're always going to have the head of comics or head of whatever making final decisions that oftentimes cannot be appealed. So sometimes these projects and these freedoms that we think we have really come down to the decision of one man or a woman. And whoever you put in said position needs to be objective and not carry any sort of political bias at all. That looks simply at the work and the merits of the work, and that's it. Guys, let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Who do you think might be the new front runner for the head of comics at Kickstarter? Where do you think Mr. Gold is going to end up next? Also, if you are watching this on day of release, which is December 10th, 2023, I would say two things. One, tune in for tonight's live stream as we're going to EFAP Perch and his whole take on the Glenn O'Leary, Mark Miller, comic shop owner debacle. We're going to be continuing on the Super Chat Challenge as well. Any Super Chatters that come by tonight's live stream will get access to Niobe #1 on digital. That's right, my very first Niobe comic. And speaking of Niobe on Indiegogo. 3 weeks left, maybe. It ends on December the 30th. There will be no In Demand. So go over to Indiegogo and back Niobe over the holidays. And we will talk to you real soon. Peace.